Who do you think is going to really make an impact for the Scarlet Knights this year as they, try to be competitive in the Big Ten and ultimately get a playoff berth?
Well, obviously, it takes a team to thrive, right? Just because we're listing these impact players and these sleeper players doesn't mean that they're the be-all, say-all of the team or the say-all, be-all. And it doesn't mean that these are the only guys that will make the team better or worse, right? It takes a whole team. But with that being said, these guys, I believe, are more crucial impact players and more crucial X factors when it comes to the sleepers. So my number 5 impact player next season is Bo Masco, right cornerback. And the reason why I have him as my top 5 impact is because he's going to see the ball thrown his way a lot more than Cam Miller is, right? Cam Miller, transfer senior from Penn State, right? So he knows about winning. He knows about being an impact player already, and he's going to get that Revis Island treatment. No one's going to throw his way. So, Bo, it's up to you to be in our top 5 impact players and possibly move higher on the list come around September.
That's a great call. Well, my number 5 is the gentleman you just mentioned, Cam Miller from Penn State. I think he brings a lot to the secondary, and we're going to need a great secondary next year against some pretty explosive teams in Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State with Drew Aller. So I think Cam Miller is a great addition to the defense. A couple interceptions there at Penn State. He was an impact player there. I think he can be a star for Rutgers and bring Rutgers defense back to those teams of 2006 and the early 2000s when they really became competitive on a national level. So Cam Miller, you are number 5 on the list. Who you got at number 4?
So it looks like both of us went, secondary for that top 5, and that's important because we've seen, I don't want to keep mentioning that one game, but we've seen our team get torched in the secondary when it matters, when it's early in the game, and in garbage time. So moving forward, we need to lock down that secondary or at least be at a pedestrian level, right? Because
Gabe, before we move forward, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm getting flashbacks of that game against Illinois.
That's the game I did not want to mention, Adam.
I hate to mention it, but what in God's name happened on that 4th down? First, the guy catches the ball what looked like on a post. Then everybody's out of position and takes the wrong angle, and he scores. Can't have that happen. That should have been a win. But go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, it makes perfect sense because we had a great offensive line. We had a defensive line that could be better, but it ultimately wasn't our top weakness, right? We had a quarterback that was inconsistent but showed flashes of brilliance. And it was overall a season that, from the outside looking in, a lot of non-Rutgers fans, people who don't watch Big Ten football, they would say it was a good season, a successful season. But obviously with us, with Shiano, we have bigger expectations, and it starts with the defense. So with that being said, my number 4 pick for impact player, and he did attend another university last year, but this is a guy that I believe is crucial because I did say that it could use some improvement, that defensive line, and Eric O'Neill can definitely improve that defensive line. He had 13 sacks last year at JMU. Yes, that means that he was at a school known for its brains rather than its athletics, but that also means the competition was on that same level, right? So he was a standout player amongst other players that, we're also striving to advance their career. But he had 13 sacks. He had 24 tackles. He even got an interception. This guy can do it all, and we need to see that this next year.
I agree with you. And anybody on the defensive line next year is really going to be a potential impact player because, you know what? We need larger players, faster players, and smarter players. And coming from James Madison, I'll take a smart player and an athletic player anytime. Well, for my number 4, I went to the offense.
Okay.
And, my best friend lives in Texas, and I've gone and visited him a few times. Texas, beautiful state. Austin, fantastic city. A lot of great universities there. One of them that isn't talked about a lot is the University of North Texas.
Okay.
Yes, of course. And we saw at the University of North Texas last year, they had a wide receiver that was lights out, not only fast, but quick, electric, elusive, dynamic. And he's been on this show before, DT Sheffield, otherwise known to me as TD Sheffield, because I think DT Sheffield is going to be a star for Rutgers this year. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns. He's going to catch over 1,000 yards, in receiving. And I think he might be at that NFL Combine. he's not only a great player, but this guy is mature. This guy is experienced, and he wants to win. DT Sheffield, he's going to be a stud for Rutgers this year.
I'm surprised you called him DT this time. All right. Respect.
Out of respect, DT.
Yes.
We love you.
Of course. Love to have you back, too. And anyone on the team that wants to come on, you're more than welcome. My number 3 here, I'm also switching to offense. And I'm going with someone that will see the ball a lot, but not alongside Ethan, but behind him. That's right. I'm going with CJ Campbell. That's my number 3 pick. Number 3 because – how are you doing, Austin? Nice to see you here. Number 3 because he is going to be our starting running back, and he's a redshirt senior. He's going to be filling Kyle Monangai's shoes, which are massive. And he's not going to be doing it all by himself, but he will be our primary running back ahead of Antoine Raymond, who I will be talking about in a little bit as a sophomore. Plenty of promise, but CJ, redshirt senior. So he's an older guy, but that means that he should be a little more physically dominant. So here's hoping, right, that we can establish that running game, free up some spots for DT, for Duff, for Strong. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, that's a good pick. On my list, I'm going back to the defense, to our leading tackler 2 years ago, linebacker Daryl Jabome. This guy is a star, and he was injured last year, and he's going to be a star again. He's fast. He knows how to read offenses. He's quick. He's going to be anchoring that Rutgers defense. And I think with the new transfers on the defensive line and people like Cam Miller and Jet Elad in the secondary, Jabome is going to have a great year. He's going to lead the team in tackles again. And he's another one who's going to be playing on Sundays, in my opinion.
Well, I hope that he's impactful because we're going to be missing out on Tyson Powell's services. And this is a guy that hopefully, addition by subtraction. I guess that's sort of saying can be applied here, right? Because you get rid of Powell, but you also bring back Jabome, who was injured all year. And we remember how dominant he was in 2023 or 2020. Yeah, 2023. I'm getting my years confused here. I think with my lists, I kind of started confusing impact and sleepers towards the end of it because I really probably should have put Jabome on here and put Eric O'Neill on sleepers. But with that being said, I'm going to move to number 2, and I'm going to bring up the guy that you already brought up on the offensive end, DT Sheffield.
DT.
Now, I have him this high. And real quick, I also want to shout out KJ Duff because he's a sophomore, outstanding. DT gave him plenty of props when he was on the show. And I'm not going to be talking about him on either list, but that doesn't mean that his impact won't go unnoticed. He's going to have some great numbers too. But with DT, man, he came on here. He said his ceiling is 1,000 plus yards, double-digit touchdowns, and I believe he can do it. And I believe he can do it on a team with plenty of other options in receiving and running back and a guy who can run the ball at QB himself. I still think he's going to get his numbers down. And this guy coming from North Texas, he's got that dog in him coming from the South anyway because he was born and raised in Mississippi. His culture is going to be the biggest factor on that field.
I'm with you 100%. DT, this is your year. You got to do it this year, and you're going to do it. I watched the highlights from him at North Texas, and I was I was surprised, if not shocked, how elusive he was, how he could elude tacklers and his speed. This guy is the real deal and probably one of the best additions for Rutgers in a long time. I think that's a great choice. Now,
him and Cam Miller, top 2 additions probably in a couple of years.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to go to number 2. And you said earlier, who's the starting running back for Rutgers?
It is CJ, Mr. CJ Campbell.
All right. I'm gonna slightly disagree. CJ, you are in a serious competition because you got 2 backs in Antoine Raymond, and I had Antoine Raymond / Deshaun Benjamin. These 2 averaged over 4 yards per carry last year. They're dynamic, they're physical, and they're fast. Campbell may be a fantastic back, but I think it's going to be running back by committee. And if we get that, we're going to have an incredible degree of balance in the running game to complement those great receivers that we have. So I'm going to have Antoine Raymond / Deshaun Benjamin in the second spot as 2 people that can really bring a lot of value to Rutgers and impacts that can win those close games. And I see them particularly, on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. I see them moving the chains.
Oh yeah, I mean 4th and 1, that's going to be Raymond's spot to shine. But you know what's funny? There's a guy sandwiched in between them on the depth chart that you didn't bring up, and that is Samuel Brown. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but the 5th Samuel Brown in his family.
Good point.
He is listed as player number 3 according to OurLads.com for 2025 Rutgers depth chart. But obviously, Jayshon Benjamin can move above him. He's got the talent to. And to me, and honestly, I think all 4 of these guys, obviously they'd love the touches, but they're all team players first. And so when you say running back by committee, I believe it. I believe that whole position can be characterized as one player, not because there's only one player, but because it's all one mindset. And that is
absolutely. That's a great point. And you know what? They are team players. And team players win championships. That Michigan team in 2023, that was a team. And these two, one of the things I look at when I analyze running backs is their initial burst. And these two have it. They accelerate quickly. They hit the hole hard. I think they're going to be impact players this year. Now, I have a feeling, I'm going to go to you for number 1. I have a strange feeling we are going to agree on this, but please go ahead.
Yeah, so, he throws the football. He's listed as QB, and, he's in his 2nd year with the team. That man, his name, Johnny Shepard. No, Ethan Kaliakmanis. I mean, I don't have to explain why he's the most impactful player on the team. He sees the ball the most. He calls plays the most. If healthy, he should have the best highlight reels on the team. And let's just hope for a little more consistency this year, eh?
Yes, Ethan, we love you. We support you. We want to have you on the show at some point. You are capable of brilliance. There were some brilliant moments last year. There was a moment in that USC game, I think it was in the 3rd quarter, when Ethan threw an absolute bullet, and they eventually scored. And to see that guy's arm, I mean, he has a cannon for an arm. Yeah. He's also got a tremendous amount of grit. He wants to win, and he fights on every play. Now, I think that he made some ill-advised passes when he went off his first read and was under pressure. But those are things that are fixable. If he puts everything together this year, Rutgers can have an outstanding year going to that magical 2026 year when they're going to make the playoffs. So, Ethan, we're behind you. You've got all the tools, put them together, and, Rutgers is going to be successful if you're successful, and I predict that you will be.
And guess what? When it comes to those mental mistakes, that happens to 90+% of college quarterbacks. And we're just thinking that this year he's going to be in that top 10%, if not top 10 by the end of the year in quarterbacks.
Yes, and let's not forget, speaking of those mental mistakes, Drew Aller, why are you throwing it to Notre Dame with 38 seconds left? Wrong team. Throw the ball away.
Cam Miller might not come on the show if you keep going at his dog like this.
Listen, Cam, you got to come on the show. I mean, we provide a balanced and honest analysis. Come on, you could take it.
I'm sure he's still
Drew, cool. Don't throw it to the wrong team, Drew.
Yeah, I'm sure he's still cool with those guys over in the Hershey area, but
not after that interception. He probably said, "I'm getting the hell out of here."
He said, if I'm gonna go out sad, I might as well help rebuild a program and show why I'm NFL ready.
That's right. He's like, wait a second. I'm on full scholarship on a team that throws it to the wrong team in the playoffs with 38 seconds left. I got to get out of here. And where did he go? The place where everybody should go, whether they're in football or not, the great state of New Jersey.
Absolutely.